What's going on, baseball fans? Jeremy Laracuente here for the Baseball Banter Broadcast. And on this broadcast, we are going to be bantering about the state of the 2023 Detroit Tigers. Now, before I get into breaking down this franchise, we have a corresponding article up on laracuenteledger.com. If you want to check out the full breakdown of this roster, check that out. Links to that article are down in the show notes below. Now, we begin looking at the major acquisitions. And when it comes to the major acquisitions for the Tigers, there's two players in particular that come to mind. Michael Lorenzen for the pitching side of things and Matt Vierling for the offense. I think that when you look at what both of these players are going to find themselves with as new members of the Detroit Tigers is playing every day. For Lorenzen, he's going to be pitching every 5 days, and for Matt Vierling, he's going to be playing every day. I think that for both of these guys, this is a fresh start, somewhere where they're going to be able to go in without a ton of pressure, but be able to go in, learn their craft, continue to grow, continue to develop, and really have a place each and every time out. I think that for both players, the Tigers are a very good fit for them, as I do believe that they're going to be able to have that opportunity to grow and not have a ton of pressure put on them in other places that may have a bit more pressure on them in 2023. I think that for Detroit, both of these players are going to be guys who are going to go into that clubhouse and really just mesh well with the rest of the team. I think solid moves for the Detroit Tigers in picking up both of these players. Now, when it comes to the significant injuries, there are several. 3/5 of what would be the absolute premium starting rotation for the Detroit Tigers are on my concern list for the injury list. Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, and Spencer Turnbull. All three of these pitchers are going to be vitally important to whatever the Tigers do or don't do, in my opinion. I think that for Detroit, these three guys are going to be of the utmost importance long term. I think that if they can prove that they are healthy, they can get into a place of dominance in the pitching ranks. And I think that it is going to be on the strength of pitching that the Tigers are going to try to fortify themselves over the next several seasons. To me, these three guys are of the utmost importance for Detroit, and that's why they are on the injury concern list. Now, when it comes to the top prospect for Detroit, Jackson Jobe is that guy. Right-handed pitcher who has a very good fastball, an amazing changeup, and an even better slider with a developing curveball. I think that there is an opportunity for this player to really become the ace of this pitching staff. Yes, that is a bold claim to make, I believe, but I think that there's an opportunity for Jackson Jobe to really be able to grow into what he can be as a top level pitcher over the next coming couple of seasons. Now, I don't believe that he's going to find himself anywhere near Detroit over this 2023 campaign, but over the next coming couple of seasons, I think that this is a name to really pay attention to if you're a fan of the Motor City Tigers. Now, when it comes to the bold prediction, I believe that Javier Baez wins the American League Comeback Player of the Year. I think that when you look at what happened with Detroit and the signing of Javi Baez before the 2022 season, it was a surprise move. It was something that you weren't expecting to happen. And I think that for both Baez and the Tigers, there was a lot of pressure put on that situation. After going out, they got buyers that they would sign Eduardo Rodriguez. To me, both of these guys put Detroit in a bit of a hot seat for the 2022 season. And I don't think that Detroit was necessarily quite ready to be in that position. I think that now, after a down season in 2022, they're going to go into 2023 looking to just get better. And I think that for Javi, he has a bounce back season. Every year coming off of the WBC and playing with Team Puerto Rico has been a very good season for Javi. And I think that this year with the WBC happening, going to be able to come in hot off of the series, off the tournament with the World Baseball Classic, and have a very good season for the Detroit Tigers. And I think Javi wins Comeback Player of the Year in the American League. Now, when it comes to the prediction of the divisional rankings for the Detroit Tigers, I think it's clear they come in fourth place. Yes, there's an opportunity that they may falter and head into that last place spot in the American League Central. But I also think that when you look at the three teams ahead of them, they are clearly better. So for Detroit, falling into fourth place is not necessarily a knock at this point. I do believe that there are some things to be excited about this team in the next coming couple of seasons. But I think for this present season, 2023, fourth place is where they end up. Now, when we grade out the pitching staff for Detroit, again, it's going to be predicated on injury concerns. So a C- grade is what I'm giving them at this moment. I think for Detroit, it could easily go in a very different direction if those three pitchers that I mentioned earlier are healthy and pitching at their prime. Mize, Skubal, and Turnbull, to me, are going to be of the utmost importance. I think that when you add in Eduardo Rodriguez as well as Michael Lorenzen, this could be a very, very good pitching staff, especially the starting portion of it for the Detroit Tigers. However, those injury concerns are a very big concern. When you have potentially 3/5 of your starting rotation on the injured list, there's a very strong possibility that you're not going to have a very good pitching staff. Not to mention that you traded away Gregory Soto, who was going to be arguably your best arm in your bullpen. So there are going to be serious questions and concerns about this Tigers starting pitching as well as their bullpen. But to me, if they can prove that they are healthy, having those three guys at the front end of this rotation are going to definitely help increase this grade from a C-. When it comes to grading out the offense, it also receives a C-. As I said, I do believe that Javi has a bounce back season, but there's going to be serious questions about the former top prospects in this Tigers organization. Riley Green, Spencer Torkelson, to me, are of the utmost importance. They could easily come back, have a very good season in 2023, and elevate this grade from a C- to a much higher grade. However, there are going to be questions about whether or not they're actually going to be able to do it at a major league level. There's also going to be concerns and questions as to what are you going to get from Miguel Cabrera. Final season, he's already announced it. How much is actually left in the tank for one of the greatest hitters that we've ever seen in this generation? I genuinely believe that this is going to be a very nice swan song for Miguel Cabrera. I don't believe necessarily that he is going to necessarily go off and hit for a ton of accolades this season. However, I do believe that this player is really going to get the benefit of the doubt everywhere he goes. I believe that he is going to be able to impart the wisdom that he has gained over the several years throughout his legendary Hall of Fame worthy career. And I think that with that, he's going to have a different mindset in speaking with his teammates. So I do believe that there's going to be an opportunity for the Tigers offense to be better, but there's going to be questions about the development of their young stars. And when it comes to grading the offseason for the Detroit Tigers, it also receives a C- grade. I don't necessarily believe that enough was done by the Tigers to really offset their chances of finishing higher than fourth in that American League Central Division. I also believe that there are several teams far and away better than them when it comes to the American League wildcard race. So for me, it's a C- grade. I do like the moves that were made this offseason by the Tigers. I also think that in conjunction with the moves that were made prior to 2022, that you can see the foundation is being laid by this organization to really build up what they have in-house. However, there's more that still needs to be done with this organization. So a just better than average, slightly lesser than average grade overall for the Detroit Tigers. Now, when it comes to grading out the franchise, again, a C- overall. I think that this is an average, slightly below average team in 2023. Yes, there are opportunities where they could exceed expectations in both the offensive and pitching side of things. There are opportunities for the franchise to go out and spend money if they find themselves in a position of wild card contention. I also believe that there's an opportunity that their young stars that maybe didn't progress the way that they had hoped in 2022 could really have a breakout season in 2023. I also believe, as I've said already, in a bounce back season from Javi Baez. But Beliefs and possibilities aren't necessarily going to win this division for the Tigers in 2023. There's also going to be several teams, 3 teams in their own division, that are going to be significantly better than them, in my opinion. I also believe that there's way more teams in the American League wildcard hunt that are going to surpass and supersede the 2023 Detroit Tigers. There's also going to be questions about how willing the owner, Chris Ilitch, is, the son of Mike Ilitch, to spend money will be. We know that Mike Ilitch would go out and spend whatever he needed to when he believed that his team was close enough to contention to head to the World Series. Chris, his son, who is now in charge of the ownership group of this team, is a bit more frugal and a bit more in terms of believing in the development process and not necessarily going out and spending the most on free agents. A very good process, but it comes with losing to attachment. This is going to be an opportunity for Detroit to kind of figure out what they have in-house in 2023. And I do believe that there is going to be some things and some progress that we see made, but I don't necessarily know that it's going to be better than slightly below average. So I think that there's going to be an opportunity for Detroit, but we're going to have to wait and see how it plays out. With that in mind, I want to hear from you. Let me know, Tigers fans, how are you feeling about your chances, your team's chances in 2023? What are your thoughts, your feelings on everything about this organization? Thoughts on Miguel Cabrera and where he ends up 5 years from now? Let me know that down in the comments, and we can keep the conversation rolling. If you want to find me over on Twitter at @banter_baseball. You can follow all of our social media channels on Instagram and TikTok at Baseball Banter Broadcast. And if you want to show more support, again, there is a corresponding article up on this video on laracuenteledger.com that you have links to down in the show notes below. We have new articles daily, mostly covering the world of Major League Baseball, but some other topics as well. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you want to show more support for us, head over to baseballbanterbroadcast.com. It is our merchandise shop where we have a ton of promo codes you can use to save on some Banter merch. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button here on this YouTube channel, as well as the bell for post notifications, so that each and every time we drop a new broadcast, you will be notified about the banter. And if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast listening platform, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating and review. It does a huge service for us as we continue to try to grow this baseball community. So once again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Keep it locked in, as on the next broadcast, we continue to banter about the beautiful world of baseball. Peace.